SevereMMA here with James McSweeney at the KSW 40 Media Day in Dublin. James, maybe talk to how this fight came, or talk about how this fight came about.
The fight came about where I was actually in Australia, and then I was on the way home to come back to England to do a new visa, and I saw social media that KSW were having an event in Dublin, and of course I looked through the event straight away to check, and I know I have fights left on my contract, so I see they're looking for a heavyweight to fight Marius. So for me, it was a no-brainer. It's like, okay, I haven't fought for a while. I want to make a comeback. It's a great fight to come back to. Marius is a very popular guy, and it's a lot of high-profile fight. And for me, I'm being back from Ireland. Never fought in Ireland before. Fought all over the world, and being my home country, this is a perfect place to come back and restart the road.
A lot of people might not know that you were born in Cork. Do you have what's your connection? Like, are your parents Irish, or what's the story there?
My father and all of his side of the family are all there. My grandfather and my mother, they're all from that side. So I still have a lot of family there. In fact, they're coming up on Saturday, and there's like probably 25 to 30 of them all coming up. And then after the fight, I'm going to head down to Cork and spend some time down there for the week and see the family. And I haven't seen them since I was a kid, so it'd be nice to catch up.
A lot of people, the casual fans, might remember you from The Ultimate Fighter. How has your game evolved, or what's changed since then?
A lot's changed. I mean, back then I wasn't an MMA fighter, really. I was a striker, and just got the opportunity to get into MMA, and the MMA was fastly growing for me. And my K1 fights were, K1 was coming to the end at that time because Ishii, the K1 director, was going away, and K1 was in Japan, and Asia was pretty much going down. So it was the next platform, and I was already in America, and I was helping Rashad Evans get ready to fight Forrest Griffin. I cornered him and helped him for that fight, and then literally within 6 weeks of the fight, I was about to go home, and I got the call from Joe Silva saying there's a show called Ultimate Fighter, do I want to be on it? And I knew nothing about the show. So I just went on and tried my luck, and of course I got through, and I did well. But back then I had no ground game, no wrestling. I was just pretty much fighting on survival of a fighter, things I knew from kickboxing and street mentality, really. So I was just surviving. But now, I've learned the sport. I've had a lot of fights in MMA since then. Spent time learning jiu-jitsu. I'm now a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I've learned wrestling, strength and conditioning. I just got to know my own body and everything else that it proceeds. So now we've started to move forward.
Have you been watching Marius's career since he came along, and what do you think is the biggest threat to you on the night?
No, I haven't really watched his career because there's only a couple of his last fights that are kind of relevant. So the only time I really was brought about when he first got into MMA, it kind of hit up like, oh, ex-strongest man, went into MMA and blah, blah. So, oh, wow, I know how this is going to go. And then after that, I never really paid any attention. And then when I signed for KSW, my first fight was in Wembley against Rosowski. And then I saw him there. He was fighting Peter Graham. And of course, I saw his fight against Peter, and I wasn't very impressed. Peter's a good veteran, and Peter just pretty much schooled him. And now I've got the fight with him. I've watched a few fights. He hasn't really evolved too much.
And do you have a prediction for how the fight might go?
I will win. He won't make it out past 2 rounds. Whether it's by submission or knockout, I'll win the fight. And I'm there. This is a warm-up fight for me. This is a fight come back. So this is a chance for me to go out there and use my skills. It all depends on him. The quicker he makes the mistake, the quicker I win.
Are you expecting to have the Irish crowd on your side?
Yes, I would not expect it, and I should have the Irish crowd on my side. If the Irish fans are for the Pudzianowski, I'd be very surprised. But there's, at the end of the day, they're fight fans. To be honest, it's not about me, who's on my side, who's not on my side. It's always great to have support, especially, being the Irish heritage. But for me, it's just about going out and fighting. If the fans enjoy what I do, if the fans are not on my side when I walk out, usually when I leave the arena, they're on my side.
That's great. Thanks a million.